Huh?
Hello my dear viewers and welcome to another video. How is everyone? And I hope you are all doing great. Finally, and after some well-deserved rest, I found a good spot with some stable connection to play a game or two with Volibear in the jungle. I think that last nerf was needed not to balance the champion but to give us some room to play the champion. What's with all these bans? It seems that the league community forgot that Skarner was released. No one is banning that, but they still ban Volibear even after the relentless storm of nerfs from Riot. And to be honest with you, even if they make this character a D-tier useless jungler, I'll still be playing just because it is always enjoyable. At least in the early stages of the game. In this one at hand, I'll try to explain what does the best start should look like for you as a jungler. Well, our approach is a simple process, and that we start in the enemy side jungle, then gank the enemy top side, then go and start from our opposite side of the jungle into another gank for our top side. I call this the supreme making of the Giga Chad carry top. You might ask two justified questions: when and why go for this strategy? The why is dictated mainly by two strong arguments. First, as I always say, if you are playing jungle, you should be unpredictable. And if you are predictable, you should be unstoppable. Your team expect from you two things. Either help them further push their lead, or give them some room to survive the early game. If you manage to do one of these two things, it means you have successfully fulfilled your role as a jungler. Now, the second argument about why you go for this strategy. It is because, based on my experience, a solo carry will win more often than a duo carry. Hence, investing in your top side will always yield for you a good game experience. Now that we have explained the why, let's look at the when element of this technique. So far, I don't have a good point on when to do it, but rather on when not to invade, and I can sum it up in one phrase. If you can't invade, it means you don't have a team. And to phrase it in a better way, let's say you invade and it fails. It is an automatic team diff, and you will most likely lose the game, because you don't have actually a team to back you. As Volibear, it is a rare thing to lose at the early 3 levels. Hence it means that the enemy collapsed on you, and it also means that your team decided to farm 2 or 3 minions instead of helping you. So I hope I explained to you the major pillars or ideas to look for when you invade. And if you are looking for textbook steps on how to invade, I would rather do that in a separate video outside of a game. Now, back to the game at hand. We are having a somewhat good top laner. Bot are also showing good awareness of what's going on in this game, and our faker is somewhat a cheap copy made at home. According to these facts, we should be having an easy game on our side. But the enemy have one problem, and it is Qiyana. No matter how many times I read the description of her skills, that is not a champion of a multiplayer game, but a solo grind game of hack and slash. To simply put it, that abomination doesn't have a counterplay, and telling it loses against something oppressive and broken doesn't mean it is a counterplay. It is as if you are fighting evil with a worse version of evil. A champion that hugs a wall, and if you engage on it, it stuns the wall, and if you wait for her to engage, she just has to wait until you are standing next to a wall. If not, she can throw you at a wall. Good design, my ass. And why is she invisible? You know what? Never mind. We will be dealing with her in due time. Let's focus now on what to do at this stage of the game. It seems that Urgo is a good top laner. Even with the help provided to Gnar, he is still somewhat winning. We have an old saying that states, "Close the door that brings in the wind and relax." It means we need to shut down completely Sir Urgo so that we can focus more on the real issue of the game. I guess we will be going for the COVID lockdown technique and deny him completely any source of farm. One must do what he can to survive in these jungles. The execution was sloppy, but we managed to deliver the message. Top is now completely under our control. But look at this. This form of disrespect indicates that the player knows that his champion is broken. I guess it is time to give a lesson about why you should never overextend against the bear. I had a feeling it would be going like this. For me, this doesn't reflect any sort of skill expression whatsoever. One dash into 3 seconds of invisibility and movement speed, plus another dash over the wall. By the way, this champion for the past year has only been an S tier with over a 52% win rate, and no one is nerfing it because Qiyana Thighs sells skins. Even though we managed to kill this champion, I am not happy about it because I know the further this game goes, this monstrosity will do some sort of a comeback. Let's hope the Twisted Fate pick will come in handy by then, either by split pushing or giving us counterplay on the enemy location to pick the enemy team around objectives. As bad as this may look, this is our first death and we managed to stay alive until the 10-minute mark. In the midst of total despair, I can say this is an absolute win. I wanted to go for Swifties since we are playing against Zillion, but right after the nerfs with our first game, I would rather go for Lucidity boots to get a good feel of Volibear. After this one, I'll go for a different setup. After that death, I know what to build. We will be going for Dead Man's Plate into the Riot balance team item. It is the Anathema's Chains to tame that Kiana. Our build is a big FU. Even if we fail to land any spells on the enemy carry, our presence will make any form of CC last 20% longer, and hopefully, my team will benefit from this setup. Any other build will feel somewhat less optimal since I'll be forced into endless slow and CC. And if we are suffering from heavy crowd control, might as well bring their MVP into the grinder with us. I guess Braum's save hit's much different than the Zilean save. Not going to lie, that felt really epic. From now on, I'll start considering Braum as a solo lane carry so that I can trick my mind into ganking bot side first. The current shift in the game is something common that happens in the mid-game, and so far, at least in Emerald Elo, no one knows what to do or how to react to it. Maybe if I manage to master this stage of the game, I'll surely climb to a higher tier. What I was expecting to happen is that Twisted Fate will use his ultimate, then go pick someone, or at least cover for us in the river. But what ended up happening is that he picked a yellow card, and used Ghost, and came running from the Tier 2 tower in the mid lane. That move kind of left a lasting negative effect on my subconscious, and I almost had a brain aneurysm instantly after witnessing that interaction. Well, this is a team game, and the general rule is, if you can't carry, just keep quiet and hope for the best. That was a very prolonged fight. Our team fights now are so long that the enemy team is respawning again. I think what ends up happening is our main source of damage gets instantly deleted, and we keep fighting with just the bear and the mustache, plus a random dude that keeps running around and throwing cards at people. Well, there is not much that can be done for my allies. I might either split push and draw Kiana into a duel, or draw the fight near Nar to set up the perfect ambush because we should be looking to end the game since the enemy scales much better than us. And sooner than later, we won't be able to get any kills against the Zilean. The second crash is a must because we didn't get any form of pressure for the past 10 minutes even if the scoreboard says otherwise. If you are not getting any towers after getting any kills, it is as if you are pouring water into sand. This game is a good example of an imminent comeback from the enemy team, mainly due to Zilean and Kiana. Regarding the Pantheon jungle pick, I was expecting more to be honest, but it seems he is either tilted or trying some night blue builds that randomly works once you get magically ahead with 3 kills with that early game invade. Other than that, Pantheon jungle is only good against a squishy composition, or when you main that champion and got auto-filled with it in the jungle. Well, my friend, the sad part about this death is that it happened exactly at the 20-minute mark, and I should never refuse a gifted Baron buff. And on top of that, it is exactly what we need. The game is somewhat close in terms of power balance, not because of the champions, but because of the player performance. When you hear performance, your mind automatically thinks of micro and macro plays, and decision-making until shit hits the fan, and the Kiana picks do what it can do best, ruin the very fabric of this game. I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to do this. Azir does it better, and he doesn't go invisible after the Shurima shuffle with increased movement speed and infinite dashes with no mana penalty. The sad life of the Juggernauts, last one to die and the first one to be flamed. That flash was just to visually disorient the enemy team. Since it seems to be very effective against yours truly, I thought it should be also the same for others. In the end, we didn't get the Baron buff, and we are back to where we were a few minutes ago. My team finally decided to make the most rational collective decision. We will send our mini Giga Chad top carry to draw some attention, then we will do the Baron buff. As simple as it sounds, It is always the most effective strategy to get the Baron buff. Now we are back to our natural habitat. I am actually full build, and I am simply looking for that excuse of an assassin to make sure she is not chasing anyone else on my team. Well, if anyone shows up, they'll be chased down, but I prefer to duel Kiana to test the limitations of this build. Two headshots and we are still alive and kicking. The only issue with this setup is that we don't have mana, and the Frozen Heart would have been also a viable choice. Well, after a second thought, I don't know if the Frozen Heart synergizes with the Anathema's chains, giving you a higher attack speed reduction. If that is the case, I think this item is a sleeper OP pick against single carry compositions, similar to the one we are currently facing. The enemy team choose to chase me, which is a good thing for us since they will gain nothing out of it while we are getting an inhibitor. I overstayed a tiny bit longer than I anticipated, hoping that the cannon minion will finish the inhibitor. My misplay was that my greed was bigger trying to take the inhibitor and coming out alive of it. A glorious death nevertheless. The fourth item can be anything at this stage. The most important thing is that it should give us the edge while dueling. I was thinking Sunfire Cape to spot Kiana while she is invisible since I can't have the sweeper all game available, but Thornmail is also viable against their composition. The possibility of Hullbreaker was also on the table, but the small components are trash, and we are looking now for quick wins rather than impactful buys. Another Baron buff, making it the third one in this game. Hopefully it is the last one. And I also think my teammates are now playing with their food. I should be forcing them to end the game. Otherwise I'll be tilted if we lose after all these backs and forths. What is still passively tilting me is that our Twisted Fate is not using his ultimate at all. He is grouping with us and waiting for me or Braum to catch someone so that he can yellow card his face. Utterly and completely useless. Just go split push or take Zhonya's and make aggressive plays. The more I look at him, the angrier I become. I like my mid laner to either be your psychotic main character or your AFK farm. Never seen on the map. Hidden power push. Anything other than that will only give us more dead weight to carry and a lot less room to enjoy the game. Finally, our Anathema's chain action at its peak. She got stunned for almost 3 seconds with the cumulative stun of me, Braum, and Jin's root, and it was instantly activated with my Q. Truly, truly outrageous. With that last play, I am very happy about the setup I chose, and it seems that my gut was right on point. With this, my dear viewers, we are ending on a good note with Anathema's chains. And as usual, make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. Also drop a like and leave me a comment. Now that I am back, you guys should expect more videos coming with more awesome strats to spice up your games. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this video and see you in the next one. Take care everyone, and peace.